We're here at the Swimming from Home talk show. I'm here with Grant Shoults. Let's dive right into it. So last time I talked to you was December. You have since been to, you went to the Pac-12 championships a couple weeks ago. Can you tell me about that experience?
Federal way being the way it was, in terms of the incidence of coronavirus, we went into the meet trying to focus on the meet, while also, staying sanitary, washing our hands every second we got. But in terms of performance, I was okay with the performance. I had a couple lifetime bests, dropped a second and a half for my best 100 free relay split. So, and I got a best of my 400 IM during the time trial. So, I was pretty happy with everything. I was able to get my hand on the wall first in the 500, which is pretty tough considering the likes of the guys in that heat, with Brooks and Sean, and like knowing that, assuming that we're all kind of still training pretty hard. It was kind of just who can fight the hardest right now, believing that we had another chance to swim in a couple weeks. But obviously that wasn't the case.
Yeah. So I guess, can you just walk me through kind of, you got through Pac-12s. It seemed like it was a successful meet for you. And then how did you start seeing things change in your day-to-day?
Yeah, well, we were starting to get impacted during the meet, and we're trying to stay off of social media and stay away from our emails, because back home we were being bombarded by all these messages about what's happening on campus, what's happening in the surrounding areas, such as Santa Clara County. And it seemed like at that time, Silicon Valley started to get a little uneasy, and the university started sending out emails and put together like a governing board responsible for combating and updating students and professors and staff. So by the time we got back on campus, there was a lot of rumors in the air about finals week coming up, because we're quarter system. So our finals should be happening right now. And also like classwork as well. Classwork just getting canceled, having to go online. And so by the time we came back on campus, they had moved all the classes to online.
Okay.
So it seems like Stanford was a little bit ahead of the curve when it came to that, in terms of like the country, but we had already been hit for the past week and a half, 2 weeks prior, with cases occurring. So I'm not really sure how much farther ahead we were, but it was just a really, really confusing time, because when we got back on Sunday.
Okay.
And Monday was like kind of like optional, get in the water, feel yourself out, because a lot of us had swam Sunday trials. And I can't remember which day it was, but early last week, we like got a message saying like the facilities are like shut down, like you can't practice. And that was around the same time that that NCs got canceled. So that was a super confusing time. A lot of us like wanted to get in the pool, because we have guys that are training for trials, guys that are training for the Olympics from other countries. So there was like a huge desire to like get in the pool, and it was kind of weird seeing that like the coaches like couldn't even be on deck. So I think in all this, it was just very, very confusing. And I remember when I found out about NCs being canceled, I was in my room and I saw that, and was more so just kind of confused, like where everything was going, because I mean it didn't seem that bad at the time. And as things have been progressing, I can see like why that decision was made, and it makes it a little more clear. But yeah, I just kind of stood in my room for like 30 minutes and kind of just walked around, just really not knowing what to do. Because I think one of the hardest parts about all this is, Olympic trials is like people are talking about that getting canceled in the Olympics, and like you set short-term goals, and I think the hardest part is like even last year when I was going through my injury, it was difficult not being able to put yourself in an opportunity to reach those goals. Because like for me personally, I'd much rather fail and not achieve a goal and miss a time than not even be given the chance. So I think that was the hardest pill to swallow. But soon after realizing that NC's was canceled, there was like talks about like getting kicked off campus, having to go home, and at that point my mindset changed because we have a lot of international guys on our team. I have a lot of international friends. My girlfriend is from South Africa, so seeing how they have to manage things now, and seeing that okay, like the senior class, like that's gonna be the last time that they're gonna swim. So kind of like I felt almost selfish for saying that I was like bummed out when I look at like their situation, and it's just like it's a lot worse than mine. Because like what they're dealing like and what other people on campus are dealing with is the fact that they don't have a place to live. A lot of them can't go home because a lot of undergraduates are on like financial aid and don't have the means to go home, and some of them like don't really have adequate living to go home to. So kind of opening my eyes to that, like this situation is like pretty serious, and it's like really really devastating for a lot of people. So it's like unfair for me to be so disappointed in the fact that I can't swim a race. So that's kind of where my mindset is right now. So while all this was unfolding, I was talking to my Coach Dan, and he said, you might want to look into finding places to train elsewhere, like back home. And he said that to other guys as well. And so I called up Mark Schubert, and I said, hey, like, is there any way that I can get home and train with you guys if you have some space? And he said, oh, like absolutely, like you're an Matador, so feel free to come by. So it was good to have that in my back pocket, and things just kept getting worse and worse up north last week. And I'm pretty sure that like I'm pretty confident that people know or have a general gist of how things are up north because of like Katie Draybot's and some other people's interviews. And yeah, it's been pretty rough. And I think the most frustrating part is the fact that we're in a sport that you can't just go run on a trail. You can't just hit balls in a batting cage. Like you have to have access to a facility. Likewise to water polo. So I think that's been the hardest part and the biggest challenge for a lot of people. And I was fortunate enough that, Mission Viejo is privately owned. It's not technically owned by the city. It's owned by the Matadors. So when I called up Coach Schubert, I kind of had that in mind, and I figured that they'd be okay. What I learned this morning, like I don't talk to a ton of clubs or a ton of coaches right now because they're going through a lot. So I haven't I haven't been asking everyone what's going on, but um, apparently the large clubs have just shut down in SoCal, um, and the Navador is actually shut down, and they opened it just for a couple people to train or a few people to train um, in some of the public trials qualifiers. So um, I was fortunate to be in a situation that I could come home and I could train with them. Because the other option I was looking at, if Mission closed and all the other places closes, try to find somewhere else where in another state to go train, or if the country shuts down, then I can just train in my backyard and attach a bungee cord to myself and kind of do like an endless swimming pool. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, but really, I mean, that's that is an option that I have to consider if that's the way things go.
Yeah.
Um, and like similar to if we're allowed to go out of our houses, like then I have the opportunity to ocean swim, and I grew up ocean swimming with Coach Rose, so it's nothing that is like foreign or uncommon, but um, it like hearing the stories that other people have been going through and dealing with in terms of no access to pools in the entire state, um, especially like on the East Coast. Like, I'm like fortunate, that I can like go swim in the ocean. Or I'm fortunate that I have a bungee cord and I can attach it myself in my backyard. And I'm incredibly fortunate for Mark Schubert. So, um, it's not everyone has been given like the same opportunity, and I know that like it's kind of frenzy for a lot of clubs and a lot of swimmers, especially on the national team, trying to find a place to swim.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that I have a list of other stuff that kind of leads into you talked about goals earlier and how this has changed goals. Where you're at today. I know for me personally, it's like you just scrap everything and you go day to day, right? Because everything's changing so rapidly that it's like, okay, well, I need to think about what I can get done today, because honestly, that's all that's all I'm given at this point. Or,
Yeah.
those are the restrictions I've got. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel you've adapted to, or how do you feel your goals have changed, maybe in the day to day?
Yeah. I feel like what you have to do today, if you're a swimmer, is just try to put yourself in a situation and give yourself the opportunity to achieve the goals that you set at the beginning of the season. Um, like there's a lot that's unfolding, and you have to be flexible, you have to be fluid, but it's no different than a meet. I mean, I've never had a perfect meet. I've never been on a national team trip that was perfect, and I think that a lot of people would say the same thing. And that's I'm not I'm not dissing USA Swimming. I'm just saying it's like in terms of like flights and whatever, like not everything goes perfect, and sometimes you're really tired, and sometimes you don't have a great swim. But at the end of the day, you just got to try to put yourself into a situation that allows you to accomplish your goals. Um, but I mean, it's tough to say that when a lot of people don't have a pool to train in. So, you know, like Dustin Lasco was like running on the beach and doing weights on the beach. Like, good for him. Like if you can find a way to do something, do it. Um, I feel for the age groupers um, who like really don't have any outlet right now. Like a lot of them are kind of like pent up in their houses doing homework and like really don't have access to outside resources. So that's something super challenging. And when it comes to when it comes to individual goal setting, um, at this point it has to you also have to consider individual circumstances. And maybe that means, you know, aligning yourself with other goals, modified goals, and I think that that's okay, because along the way in goal setting, you know, you're supposed to have small goals. You know, you're supposed to set yourself up so that you can accomplish a major goal. And so, you know, every day, if you can hit a small goal, you can hit a small goal at the end of the week, whether it's time, whether it's dedication, whether it's, you know, eating habits or getting to bed. Like you can do the little things. That puts you in a better situation to accomplish that major goal, which is something I feel like everyone can do no matter the situation.
Yeah. What has helped in the last 7 days? And you know, again, it could be different each day, but what has helped you the most kind of process this, get through this, you know, keep moving forward?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like what I've done in the past year, you know, getting back to swimming, um, I'd be doing a disservice to myself if I didn't give my all and give my 100% to, you know, figuring out a way to get myself in a pool, get myself into practice. Um, you know, like my goal that I set last year was okay, swim at world championships. Didn't matter what you do, get to world championships. And once I was on that path, I said, okay, I want to break 3:55. I don't want to embarrass myself at world championships. I want to, you know, do a half decent job and the best job I can do. And I beat that time by 3 seconds. So like along the way, similar to goal setting, is, you know, just doing my best to accomplish the goals that I've set out. Um, just using that to stay motivated. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a really, really tough time for everyone, especially in the swimming world, and a lot of other people are having a rough time as well. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess just doing it for the people around you as well. Like you know, the coaches are doing everything possible to find time in the water for you. They're spending so many hours on the phone. They're spending, you know, like right now, they're like, even though the coaches aren't like physically coaching, they're spending time and effort on you. And so, like today when I was in the water with Mission, it's like, wow, like I'm thinking of Dan and Neil, you know, like they would love to be here with me right now, and I know they're trying to do the best. So I can get back up north to train with them. So, you know, I'm doing it for those guys. I'm also doing it for my family. That's, you know, helped me out the past year, and also like they like allowed me to come home and live with them until the situation gets figured out. Um, so, and like there's countless other people that you can think of, and I feel like, you know, you do it for the goals that you set out, and you do it for the people around you and that support and love you.
Yeah. What what was that practice this morning like? I'm guessing it was a pretty stark contrast to most other workouts.
Yeah. Well, so because we came off Pac-12, we came off like well, for me it was a 5-day meet. Um, you know, I didn't really get that much aerobic training when I got back to campus, and then with the fact that we weren't really allowed facilities, I didn't have a great week of training last week, and I feel like a lot of other people are in the same situation. So, um, they were shut down yesterday, So I swam at like my local community pool. So like this morning was like my first morning, and it's always a shock. I mean, it's never easy, and I've like truthfully, I haven't had a ton of practices where I've made it through the entire workout, but that's because I'm training with guys that are swimming open water 10Ks. So yeah, I'm gonna, everyone's gonna struggle a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely different than the training that I did up north. However, I knew that going in. I just need that aerobic base to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need a ton of it, but I feel as if I'm not hurting myself um, doing extra yardage. But I did slow down the base, and I did take a round off of the set. So um, I am looking out for myself, and obviously I don't want to mess up my shoulder again. So I'm not going to do anything I shouldn't be doing, but I'm open to swimming those yards. I mean, I did it as a 13, 14-year-old. I can do it as an old man. So
Yeah. How many others were there at that workout this morning?
like four
Okay.
others.
Gotcha.
So it's a small group.
Yeah.
But I mean, it kind of sounds like it sounds like I mean, as the president said, you can have more people than 10 in a group. So it's like, you can't really get a ton more people, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha. So I guess last thing, and you can talk as little or as much as you want about this, but have you, and I know you touched on it earlier, but have you had time to process, the fact that potentially your NCAA career is over?
It's not over. I got next year.
Aren't you a senior this year?
Yeah, I redshirted though.
Oh, so this year you were a redshirt junior.
Yeah, so I'm coming back.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then never mind. Sorry, I thought you were.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Well, I mean, hey, with the way things are going, you never know. But um, no, I'm coming back next year. Yeah, I'm
Okay, that's
excited.
cool. That's awesome. So I guess I'll rephrase the question, and again, as little or as much as you want, but just have you had time to process the fact that this NCAA year was cut short for you?
I think that it has hit for me personally. Like I have processed it.
Mhm.
But there's just been so many things that have been going on, and I feel like, again, like I said earlier, I feel like it's kind of wrong for me to kind of dwell on that when there's so many bigger things happening in other people's lives, um, like in terms of salaries, in terms of having the kids having to be home, and you know and then in our situation, just finding a pool to train in. So I feel like there's a lot more important things that I need to spend my energy on, and right now, yeah, that's really unfortunate. And we're not the only sport. I have friends in gymnastics that had theirs cut short, wrestling, baseball. Um, so there's a lot of people going through um, what I'm personally going through in terms of the cancellation of NCs and NCAA championships. I feel for our women's team. They're gonna have to battle to get a title, but obviously they're in contention. So, um, like I feel for the women as well. So, um, so yeah, I mean it has hit a little bit, but there's more important things to think about, and there's important people to care about and think about. So, it's not my top priority right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Grant. Really appreciate your time, and I hope you're able to continue training. That's
Thank you very
yeah, thanks.
much.
Yeah. All right.